So let's talk about the B2B pipeline problem. If you're a growth leader, you're probably falling into one or two buckets. One bucket is your growth isn't actually as fast as you were hoping for. Maybe you're looking back at last quarter or you're looking at what's happening inside the business today and you're like, I just don't feel like we're going to make it based on this pipeline. Or you're in the other bucket. You're growing really, really fast and you have even bigger targets this year. You're looking at the structure of your engine, your go to market engine, and thinking, we just need to do a lot more this year. We probably don't have as much resources as we had in the past. So let's get a bit creative. You're in the right place. So let me walk you through how we're looking at the problem today and exactly how we should be thinking about solving it. So what's happening? Now, one of the first things that I recognize when speaking to growth leaders or looking at all of the stuff that we see online is we are often really geared towards things like it's the economy, the market's terrible, so we're going to be terrible, end of. Or it's the sales team, they're underperforming, they're not doing what I want them to do, and it's all their fault. Or maybe we shift the blame a little bit more to marketing. So we're like, oh, these leads are terrible. Or maybe we don't have the level of marketing expertise that we really want inside our organization. The other area that I see pop up a lot, of course, is the team don't have the right tools. We need more tech, and once we have the tech, it's the tech that's going to help us to drive the results we need. But realistically, that's not really it. Whilst that's part of the problem, the real problem always comes down to our strategy. So let's look at this in a bit more detail. This is something that I call the three I's when it comes to the B2B pipeline problem. So the first area is what I call an incoherent focus. This is where we're not really focused as an organization on the right target, the right part of our target addressable market, which means we're not optimizing our go to market resources to drive the most return on investment for a market that is screaming for our help. Instead, we're focused, we're spread too thin, or we're just focused on trying to attack everything, which means we're not going to optimize and learn fast enough to deliver the most value to where we are uniquely positioned to drive the highest value. The other area I see is an incompatible sales process. So this is when our go-to-market teams create, marketing programs or campaigns or sales processes or customer success processes that are simply and fundamentally out of sync with how our buyers and our prospects actually buy or make decisions, which creates even more issues inside our pipeline because we're just missing the mark and often accidentally missing opportunities. The other area is an inconsistent methodology. So this is where we're really just leaving a lot of the way we deliver value down to the discretion of our team members. So there's no like collective understanding of what is our blueprint for how we deliver, how we engage, what we say, what we do, what are the tactics. And it's usually just like a little bit of playbooks here and marketing have that message and sales have that message and customer success is trying to figure out, okay, so what the hell just happened? And then trying to mold it all together. These things mean we often see gaps in where we could potentially be driving a lot more value to our market and therefore converting that into pipeline, which ideally we want to turn into revenue. So, what do we do to start to reverse the impact of that? Well, we start to make a few shifts so that we can move out of this space where there's a bit of a buyer disconnect, where our organization's here trying to capture this market here. Make sure you can see my hands, and there's just we're not quite matching up to what's expected or desired from them. So what do we do to reverse that? Well, we start to go from having an incoherent focus to a more refined, more refined go-to-market strategy. And what this looks like in practice is what I actually call get focused, which is an acronym on the right serviceable, obtainable market. Now, we want to go where we are positioned to drive the most value. And in turn, that allows us to generate more pipeline because we're basically going to an audience that needs us and we are uniquely positioned to solve them based on how we operate, based on our delivery model, based on our experience. There's various different criteria in there. And this trends and changes over time. So we need to create much more agility in our go-to-market engine to allow for us to do this. The next area is where we start to reverse the impact of having an incompatible sales process and create a customer engagement process. So what we're doing here is we're looking at our existing customers and doing an LTV multiplier. So what that is trying to understand how we make the next purchase with our customers a logical next step. with us. Not something that comes out of surprise, not something we just throw at them as like a menu inside a restaurant. We're basically trying to understand what are your dietary requirements, what are your allergies, and how can we meet you right there, exactly what you need, and you have the expectation of the value that we can deliver. The other area is around decision mapping. So essentially, we're saying it's not just like let's map your sales process and our buyer journey. It's let's map what we're doing to the decisions that they have to make throughout their buying journey with us for existing for existing customers and also prospects. So we go from aggressively selling to aggressively working out how do they make decisions and what can we do to help them do that so that they can make more informed decisions faster. And then we have a conversion catalyst. Now, believe it or not, you're really close to your go to market engine. So by doing an audit and getting kind of a better understanding of what is happening inside your processes from the moment someone becomes aware of you to the moment they buy, we start to see the gaps. So we try to close those gaps and surface them by as a means of increasing the conversions inside your go-to-market engine, right? So little things all around your engine. Think about all the interactions that you have. There's probably things in there that you're overlooking that are going to close the gap and help you to increase incremental increases in your conversions that can drive more value, more pipeline, more money, etc. The other area is we go from having an inconsistent methodology to an integrated go to market methodology. Now, the key thing here is really transitioning how we think. It's a real cultural and mindset shift to a buyer centric one rather than a seller centric one. And everybody tells me, "Oh, Hannah, we've always been customer centric." And I'm like, I promise you, when we look at your go to market and how you operate, there's going to be so many areas where you're not. So we go from having sales playbooks to decision making playbooks because at the end of the day, we're trying to help people make change and we want them to make a decision to buy from us. But what we don't do throughout our go-to-market engine from that moment they're aware of us to the moment they buy is think about all of the incremental decisions they have to make, and then make sure that we can help them make the decisions. That's it. So we optimize your playbooks to focus on the decisions that people have to make at every single stage. So looking at that yes, no, and maybe, or yes, no, stop. They either say yes, move forward. They say no, they go back or fall out, or they say stop. And there's something that has to happen here. There's this dark cloud of gloom where they're like, I'm in this indecision state. So we're building playbooks to optimize for those things so that we can tackle them and help them make decisions and drive more pipeline. The other areas around differentiate through execution, so DTE, it's simply the experience that you create that will allow you to generate more pipeline simply because it's so different. It's so much more welcoming and more rewarding to your prospects than what they're going to experience with your competition. I always say when you walk into a Michelin star restaurant, the experience that they create allows you to pay $40 or £40 for some pasta or spaghetti that you can get for $1 or 50 cents in a shop, simply because the experience and the ambience that they create in that moment justifies you spending your time and your money and your resources with them. So when you start to differentiate in this way, when you start to get focused on the right area of your business and you may be too close to it to understand it, and when you start to look at value mapping and multiplying lifetime value and making sure that you can see the micro conversions throughout your funnel and how to improve them, pipeline starts to appear out of nowhere. So this is how we start to think about the B2B pipeline problem, and this is how we work to help you solve it. All right, cool. Hope that helps.